There's no weirder feeling than feeling like you have a lot on your mind, but I have no idea how to formulate it or divulge it, get it out. And interestingly, I think emotion has a part to play in that. I find it very easy when there is an emotional stimuli to divulge anything, because you're driven to do. You're either passionate or angry or sad or something. But when you're content and you have a bundle of thoughts to formulate, it's really strange. It's really, really strange, because there's no energy in motion like pushing you to just spew what it is that's on your mind. Because I really enjoyed today's session, and I found myself in a very content state, a very peaceful state. I worked hard, and the hard work was hard, but I had enough, I guess you could say, mental fortitude today, drive, determination, discipline, whatever you want to call it, to work and keep working hard. I think a huge part of that is the fact that I was doing stuff that I enjoy. That to me is extremely important in the gym. But yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. I sit here and I'm talking into my phone, and I feel like I almost have nothing to talk about, which is a shame. Because if I sat down and had a conversation with somebody right now, I feel like I could converse for hours about anything and everything, which is the most confusing and interesting part about this project. It's all practice at the end of the day, but communicating with no immediate response is still very strange to me. You literally have to sit here and have a conversation with yourself. And that's not something I'm very used to. I'm a very talkative person. I can sit and chat with you for hours about anything. Like, literally. I'm that guy who, if I'm not disciplined, I'll get caught in the gym, for example, speaking to very few people for over an hour. But I could talk to anybody for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour with considerable ease. But talking to my phone, to myself, when there's no emotional stimuli, it becomes far more difficult. However, there is one thing that I've been thinking about on the way home, and it was triggered by this elderly gent. I say elderly, he's probably not that old. He's probably younger than he looks. But he trains, he works hard, he exercises a lot. And he's clearly a larger-than-life type of individual. And now, larger-than-life type of individuals, I find really fucking interesting. I grew up with quite a few, just off the top of my head, like, thinking about it. I'm close with one or two. And I've always admired them. And what I consider a larger-than-life type of person is just the type of person that doesn't like sitting still. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because there's nothing wrong with not liking to sit still. They're always seeking adventure, new adventures, new people, new possibilities, opening new doors. And they are always the people that seem to open many doors and communicate with the most people and connect with the most people and get really good at it through pure experience. And this older dude at the gym, yeah, I find him really interesting because he has this perception of me that is somewhat true and somewhat very far from the truth. Because he's a larger-than-life individual, I feel like he looks at somebody like me, and not negatively, but judges the way I look and naturally assumes that I'm the same. Right? And assumes that, okay, he knows what he was doing at my age and how he was living life. So assumes that, somebody who looks like me who carries himself like me is probably doing something similar. And it's strange because I find communicating with him, there's always like this weird there's this weird barrier almost that is preventing us from actually having some really meaningful conversation because of the way we live life completely differently. I'm somebody who likes to sit still and ponder. Like I like to think of myself as the monk in the mountains in this crazy world that we live in. However, I'm nowhere near disciplined enough. My ego is way too big to be going to Tibet and chilling in the mountains for the rest of my life and shaving my head. But I've always spoken to my best friend about how, yeah, like I've always felt like that guy who I'm the closest thing that you men are gonna see or you men are gonna talk to a monk, because you ain't gonna chat to a monk because these men have vowed to stay silent and live in the mountains, and we live in cities and towns and whatnot. But I'm the closest you'll get. And I'm kind of just waffling here, I'll be real. It's gonna be one of the least meaningful fucking videos I've ever done. But yeah, man, like, I can't put my finger on what it is that's kind of preventing us from like really understanding each other. Because there is a part of me that feels like people like that, they do often judge. Well, everybody judges everybody. But people like that often judge younger people like me who choose to live life very differently as if I'm wasting life. Which I find really interesting and understandable, because from your perspective and from your preferences, it would be a waste of life. But that's what I find really interesting. I feel like it's a conversation that isn't had enough. And that's the conversation of like, what do you like truly enjoy? Like, I'm somebody who genuinely enjoys having simplicity in life. Don't get twisted. Like, I love meeting new people. I love going on adventures. I love all of that shit. I also love sitting still, thinking, fucking exercising, walking my dog with no stimuli, just me, the dog, and nature. Well, fucking going, sitting at the beach and watching the waves, like eating healthy food out of choice, not out of no diet or no you have to. Nah, like I genuinely get a kick out of what I perceive to be prolonging my life, or doing anything in my power that could potentially prolong my life, because I love life. Like, I genuinely just love living. It's that simple to me. And to some people, not necessarily that's not enough, but they don't even perceive the idea of watching the waves as living. Like, if you're not on an adventure, or if you're not opening new doors, breaking down new walls, whatever, however you want to coin it, then you're not living. And whilst I have never struggled to communicate with, or I think communicate is the wrong word, because I don't struggle to communicate with this guy, or connect with people my age that are like that, it's always the older generation that really lived it up. My dad's a little bit like that as well, that really lived it up, that really struggle to comprehend us youngers who are choosing to take the more stoic route, the more simple, I don't like using this term because I was like kind of taking the piss using it earlier, but monk-like route. It's something to think on, and I might actually, I think I'm going to, or no, I am going to think on this more and choose to think on this more and do tomorrow's video on this topic, because I feel like there's a lot to be said on this and I have a lot to say on this. But like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, I've just kind of struggled to really formulate my thoughts right now. I had a hard session, and like I said, I worked hard, and the hard work was hard. It wasn't easy today. So I'm in a place of contentment through an element of exhaustion, both mentally and physically, which is nice. It's a beautiful feeling, but it's not the feeling you want to feel when you're recording audio for your train every day journey. So if you've made it this far, I really fucking appreciate you, because this one felt extremely messy. So thank you, and I shall see you tomorrow.